Welcome to The Explainer. Sometimes to understand a huge story, you have to find the one big idea that ties it all together. And today, we're going to trace what might be the biggest idea in the entire Bible, a kind of golden thread that runs from page 1 all the way to the end. It's a story about our purpose, about failure, and about an incredible restoration.
Okay, let's just dive right in with this question. What if humanity's core purpose wasn't just to, exist? What if we were made to rule, to actually govern? This one idea, it's going to frame everything we talk about today.
So, to really get this, we've got to go all the way back. Back to the very beginning, right? We need to look at God's original blueprint for all of us and for the world.
Now, you've probably heard this phrase, image of God, before, right? Well, in Genesis, this wasn't about our physical appearance, like looking like God. Not at all. It was actually a job description, a royal one. Think of it like being appointed a vice-regent, someone who's authorized to rule on behalf of the king. That was the gig.
And right here, in Genesis 1, we get the official commission. Let them have dominion over everything. This was the task, to take God's wise, creative, and, loving rule and extend it to every single corner of creation. It was about bringing order from chaos, cultivating beauty, and just caring for the world. So this is the crucial takeaway from the beginning of the story. From day one, humanity had a royal purpose. The whole idea was to partner with God in caring for and cultivating this amazing world he had made. But as you probably know, that's not exactly how the story went. Let's talk about how this incredible plan got so tragically derailed. So in Genesis chapter 3, we see this massive shift. Humanity decides they want their own definition of good and evil, not God's. And this wasn't just, a simple mistake. It was a full-on abdication of their royal job. They walked off the throne, and the consequence was huge: exile from God's presence. The whole commission was broken.
But here's the thing. This pattern of failure didn't just happen once. And yet, God's plan didn't just end there either. He chose a specific group of people, the nation of Israel, to try and pick up that original royal commission.
So Israel was supposed to be this kingdom of priests, basically a new Adam, right? Their job was to show the rest of the world what God's rule looked like. But, you guessed it, just like Adam, they failed. They couldn't perfectly reflect God's image and his rule, and what happened? They ended up in their own exile. The pattern just repeated itself.
Okay, so this leaves us with a massive question, doesn't it? If the first humans failed, and then God's chosen people failed, how is this original purpose ever going to be restored? Is the plan just dead in the water?
Well, this is where the entire story takes this incredible, dramatic turn. A new figure enters the scene, one who would finally succeed where everyone else had completely failed. And this right here, this is the pivot point for the whole story. The Bible doesn't just say Jesus is another guy who bears God's image. No, it says he is the image of God, the perfect, unfiltered, 100% accurate reflection of who God really is. Yeah, the New Testament even gives him this title, the last Adam. He's the one who shows up to do what the first Adam was supposed to do all along. He's the one who perfectly fulfills that royal commission, succeeding where all of humanity had fallen short. Okay, so what does this perfect image bearer actually do? Well, he brings the very thing humanity was created to spread in the first place, God's kingdom. This was Jesus' #1 message. When he said the kingdom of God has come near, he was announcing that God's active, powerful reign and rule was breaking into our world right here, right now, through his own life, his death, and his resurrection. And this creates this really fascinating tension that his followers live in. The kingdom is already here, it's real, you can experience it, you can see its effects through Jesus, but it's not yet here in its final, complete form. Just look around, right? So we're kind of living in the overlap of these two ages. And the implication of this is it's incredible. For anyone who's united to Jesus, that original image, the one that got so broken and tarnished back in the garden, is actually being restored. They get to start participating in his rule right now. So, let's follow this golden thread to its conclusion. Where does this epic story of a lost and restored purpose finally lead? What's the last chapter look like?
get this. At the very, very end of the Bible, in this vision of a new heaven and a new earth, what do we see God's people doing? Exactly what humanity was created to do in the first place. They are reigning as God's representatives in a completely renewed world. Full circle.
So this timeline just lays out the entire breathtaking story, doesn't it? You go from this royal commission in creation to it being broken in the fall. Then Christ comes as the perfect image bearer to restore it. Now the church gets to participate in that renewal, all leading to the new creation where that original commission is finally and fully realized. It's a story of a lost purpose being found and completely restored.
So here's the thing. This incredible ancient story isn't just some history lesson. It has everything to do with our lives today. If humanity's purpose is being restored to reflect God's wise and loving rule, it leaves us with a really practical and honestly a pretty challenging question for right now. What does it mean for us to reflect that rule? To bring justice and creativity and order and beauty in our jobs, in our families, and in our communities today?